Deep within the rainforests of West Africa lay a city that defied the known laws of engineering. This was Benin City, a sprawling metropolis built on a foundation of pure mathematical precision. Long before the age of computers, its planners used fractals to create a perfect urban harmony. But their greatest achievement was not just the layout, but the walls that protected it. These earthworks were 4 times longer than the Great Wall of China, a staggering human feat. Every street was lit by massive bronze lamps, turning the African night into a golden stage. At the center sat the Oba, the divine ruler of a kingdom of shimmering metal. His palace was a forest of bronze pillars, each etched with the history of his ancestors. How did a civilization in the heart of the jungle achieve such terrifyingly perfect symmetry? The secret began in the fire, where the guild of bronze casters worked in total secrecy. They used the lost wax technique, a process so complex it remains a marvel even today. The resulting artifacts were not just art, they were the legal records of the empire. Every plaque told the story of a battle won, a treaty signed, or a god honored. But as the city grew, so did the complexity of maintaining its massive mathematical balance. The walls required constant repair, a labor force numbering in the tens of thousands daily.
Engineers calculated the rainfall, creating a drainage system that prevented the city from ever flooding. While Europe was in its dark ages, Benin was thriving in a golden age of logic. Visitors from distant lands were stunned by the cleanliness and order of the empire's capital. They described a city where crime was rare, and the king's word was absolute law. But the very sophistication of Benin was about to be put to the ultimate test. Beneath the surface of this orderly world, a new challenge to their engineering emerged. The jungle itself was fighting back, trying to reclaim the space carved out by man. The Oba called for a new era of construction to reinforce the empire's grand boundaries. Thousands of architects gathered to solve the problem of the shifting tropical soil. They designed deep structural anchors, using the same math that built their fractal homes. But as they dug deeper, they discovered that the earth held secrets of those before them. The city was built upon layers of history, each one more advanced than the last. It was a cycle of birth and rebirth, powered by the genius of the African mind. Yet, the world outside was changing, and the isolation of Benin was coming to an end. Restating the mystery, how did they maintain such perfection without a single written book?
The answer lay in the oral tradition, passed down through the guilds of the masters. Knowledge was a living thing, stored in the minds of the empire's greatest thinkers. But knowledge alone could not stop the pressure of a growing population. Food logistics became an engineering feat of their own, requiring massive grain silos. Every grain was accounted for, every resource mapped by the king's own surveyors. The city was a breathing organism, a machine made of red earth and human will. As the 17th century approached, the empire reached the absolute peak of its power. This was the era of the great bronze casting boom, filling the city with light. But the weight of such an empire was immense, and the jungle never stopped its push. Cracks began to show in the fractal logic as new trade routes shifted the focus. The engineers faced a choice: adapt their math or watch the city be swallowed. They chose to build even larger, creating the final ring of the great earthworks. It was a defiant statement of African sovereignty and technical brilliance. Inside, the city remained a sanctuary of art, science, and royal majesty. The Oba donned his full ceremonial armor, a suit made entirely of coral and bronze.
He stood as the guardian of a world that the rest of the globe could barely imagine. Every bronze plaque was polished until the walls of the palace shone like gold. The fractals of the city were now so complex they could be seen from the highest hills. Benin had become a beacon of what was possible when nature and math collided.
But the silence of history began to fall as the empire moved into its final era. The engineering marvel of Benin did not just build walls, it built an identity. A legacy of precision that challenged the world's perception of African capability. Though the physical city changed, the blueprints of their genius remained etched in metal. The Great Walls eventually returned to the earth, but their story refused to bury. They remain a testament to a time when Africa led the world in urban design. A city of fractals, a city of bronze, a city that time can never truly erase. The Lost City of Benin stands as a haunting reminder of our forgotten greatness. To understand the future, we must first look at the incredible math of our past. The engineering marvel of ancient Africa is not a myth, it is our foundation. The walls may have fallen, but the genius of Benin lives on in every grain of sand.